Hey everyone, Dr. Frunkey here with an awesome new knife console video for you on the Hawk Knives Deadlock. The Hawk Knives group are a father and son combo of Grant and Gavin Hawk. They are famous for a number of different knives and innovative things that are going on in the knife community, including this spring type clip right here. But recently they have gotten a lot of attention for the Deadlock. The Deadlock claims to be the solution to the traditional problem without the front knives. I'm going to bring in a Microtech to demonstrate this issue. This is a Microtech Dirac. I have a video on this on the channel. In all out the front automatic knives, to varying degrees, there is an element of side-to-side blade play in all directions, and there's also this motion. If you pull on the blade slightly comes up before it locks into place. And so there are many degrees of motion that happen, and in a Microtech this is minimized. If you get into cheaper out the front knives, that is even more exaggerated. Now what the Hawks have done is develop a locking mechanism and a way that this blade locks into place that completely gets rid of any motion. If I pull on this blade, it's not going anywhere. That is the entire trick of the Deadlock. I could pretty much end the review right there because that is basically the important point that's going on here. We will go through the rest of the knife as we traditionally do. But that is the party trick of the Deadlock, and hence the name, the Deadlock. It is deadlocked in place, and it has all of the fun features and good looks that we come to know from out the front knives. And so this is very appealing. Now, none of this comes very cheaply. You can get some out the front knives for like $100. You can get a Piranha. For a couple $100, you can get a Microtech. This is a custom-made knife. These are made on an individual basis by a couple of makers in a garage somewhere. And so these are going to run you $1,000+ in this configuration. It might be somewhere in the $1,100 to $1,300 range. They go all the way up to $1,500 plus for certain variants of the knife. This one happens to have the full carbon fiber construction. I wanted to say thank you to my good buddy Nico, who lives up in Canada, for letting me check this out. He had to send this knife to me so that he can collect it at a later date because of the whole Canadian knife border patrol situation thing. So the Deadlock is a out the front, very awesome dual edge knife right here. Let's go ahead and get some vital signs on this guy so we understand what we're looking at here. Up front, you're looking at about 3.5 inches of blade. If you count this all the way back to the hilt, you're really getting about 3.3-ish inches of effective cutting length. And of course, you have the dual edge, so really you get double that. All the way to the back here, you're looking at about 8.3 inches of overall length. And then if I get to the handle here, it's just under 5 inches, 4.9 something inches on that handle right there. This knife is a little bit thick. If I bring out the calipers here, and then I'm just going to show you visually the difference in the thickness between the Dirac over here and the Deadlock. It's just a very big difference. There's a lot of thickness going on here. It's not particularly heavy, but I'll show you here that you know, at its widest point here on the trigger, you're looking at 0.75 inches, so 3/4 of an inch. At its thinnest point here, you're looking at 0.5 inches. So really, it's kind of got a thickness to it, and so if that is a problem for you, it might be a thing. I'm going to also measure this diameter. This is something that's interesting to me. This is an interesting distance here, almost 1.5 inches of width there at the front. There are not a lot of knives that taper quite like this knife does, where there is this guard at the front that is so wide. I think that is part of what gives this knife its character. It really has a very unique look in the world of out the front knives, and it does make it very ergonomic. It's nice to hold it just like this. It's easy to hold it like this as well. But it is kind of wide, and that's just something that visually and sort of functionally kind of, it just gets to me a little bit, and it's one of the reasons why I don't own one of these knives, but I do think that they're very special and it warrants your attention. Let's go ahead and bring out another couple of knives for a size comparison right here. This is a Spyderco Paramilitary 2, and you'll see that we are looking at a very similar sort of overall size profile. In fact, this Deadlock is a slight bit bigger. I'm going to bring out a Riot Knives K2. This has a 3.8 inch, 3.9 inch blade, so you're sitting at a fairly large size category here in terms of automatic knives in general, and as well as just knives in general. So that's a nicely sized knife. I would almost like to see a smaller version of this come out. I really like smaller out the front knives for actual carry. This would be really kind of terrifying in terms of the office factor. If you were to bring this out and just start firing it in the office, it's a little bit aggressive because of its overall size and look. The blade itself is beautifully done. To be honest, I don't know what steel this is. I probably should know that. Honestly, it's kind of irrelevant. It's probably M390 or some equivalent good stainless steel. I will leave it in the comments down below. It has been done in a beautiful double-edged classic grind. It is a beautiful grind. I love the blade on this. In any out the front knife, this is exactly what I want the blade to look like. I always buy dual-edged out the front Microtechs. I like that they didn't do any of this other embellishment that the Microtech has with the holes and the fuller. It's just a very clean look, and then it's bead blasted and then given its edge. It's a nice, clean, stealthy look, very good for actual use. You can see, however, that this particular finish, just from firing the knife, is actually wearing off a little bit on the back. That's a small annoyance for someone with a lot of OCD. It's just maybe something to be aware of if and when you purchase one of these knives in terms of what finishes you might want. You can see that the blade comes out of the center of the handle. I actually really like that a lot, as opposed to a lot of Microtechs and other out the fronts where the blade seems to come out of one side of the handle or the other. I really like that symmetry. That is definitely worth noting. The blade comes out very easily. There's maybe a little bit less aggression than a Microtech firing action, but it still comes out very quickly. It's maybe not quite as fast, but again, fully locked up. Absolutely no blade play. Really and truly, really nice. If you want to go see probably the best video on one of these, go watch Advanced Knife Bro's video on this. I really enjoyed his video about this knife. He wanted one of these for a long time. Moving back to the handle, this one is nice because it is the full carbon fiber construction. Check out that chatoyance going on there with the carbon fiber. Really beautifully done. Simple carbon fiber is often overlooked in the days of crazy, you know, fat carbons and stuff like that of 2020. It's easy to overlook the plain twill carbon fiber. I really like this look. It looks very, I want to say aeronautical, or almost not steampunk, but very sort of industrial aeronautical in terms of its finish and its look, and I really like that. There is a little back plate right here that provides a little bit of traction as you're holding the knife. You can put your fingers on there and get some good grip. It's not a hot spot when you're holding it in this orientation like this. The firing button, a lot like the Microtech button, has some very nice ergos, and it's very easy to fire. This tracks very smoothly along the smooth carbon fiber surface right here. I kind of wish that they had made it sort of indented into the knife a little bit. It sort of sticks out a little bit from the knife. It kind of looks like it's hovering there. And, you know, aesthetically, you know, I feel like the look on the Microtech is maybe a little bit cleaner because you don't see that body gap. I realize that that's a minor thing, but it's just sort of a minor appearance change. I almost wish that it was sunk in just a little bit and had a track similar to what we were seeing over there. Just cleans it up a little bit. One of the major benefits that you can see is that this has some Torx screws, so easy assembly, disassembly. I am not about to do that with this automatic knife. That does not belong to me. But it is, the option is there. Along the outside, there is a titanium frame, says Deadlock 2019, Gavin Hawk. I've had this one for a long time. It's got a patent, and it's in 20 CV steel. I should have known that. I told you it was M390 or something good like that. 20 CV steel, says it right there on the handle. And then it features the Hawk type clip. This is a slight modification from what we've seen on other knives, particularly like the CRK Deadlock had a spring clip, and they've made other spring clips. This is a variant on that, and it's kind of what they're known for. The retention here is good. I don't particularly love spring clips because you have to actuate it every time getting in and out of the pocket. You can't passively slide it in and passively slide it out easily because the spring provides a little bit extra tension. So you know, it's not terrible, but it's just one of those things. You either love it or you don't. I do enjoy their logo right here. It's kind of an aggressive looking Hawk's claw logo right here. I do really like that. It's neat. It's a little bit big. It harkens back to kind of old school Microtech a little bit with the big billboarding going on there, but they don't really overdo it too much. Well, and then I look at the side here and they've got it all over the place. I could do without that, but I understand the need for branding. Anyways, what do I think of the Deadlock? Well, I mentioned it before, I don't own one of these knives. It's just sort of that one level beyond what is actually carryable for me in various settings. It's sort of a little bit too big to carry in an office or a hospital setting because it looks very aggressive and it just kind of looks like a big sword. It's also a bit thick. For my carry needs, I need a rather slim profiled knife. I've learned over time this is not an issue if you wear large size pants on a daily basis, but the thickness and the size in the pocket, particularly if you're trying to carry something else in the pocket, this feels like having a remote control in your pocket. It's so large and wide. I just don't know how to explain it. I did not get to the weight on this knife. I meant to do that. This carbon fiber construction right here comes in at 4.75 ounces, so it's a nice weight for carry. It's not too obtrusive at that weight, but you know, does this actually provide a functional benefit so that the blade doesn't move at all? Maybe it does. I think that time has proven that the Microtech model works just fine, that blade play does not affect functionality at all. It's highly unlikely that you're going to be using this for an actual tactical operation where you would need to stab someone, pull it out fast enough, and stab them again with it, that this little amount of blade play would cause some problem. That is literally the only scenario in which I can imagine that blade play would become a real problem. And perhaps for a very specific type of operator, an out the front with none of that blade play is an important thing to have. But outside of that, you know, does this reinvent the wheel? I don't think so. Yes, it's a nice innovation. I would like to see more out the front knives with no blade play. And it is a cool thing that they have created it here. But at this price point, with this size profile, I don't really love the knife. I'm not going to lie. I really wish them the best. I love that they innovate. They're very, very kind people. I actually met them at one of the Blade shows. Wonderful human beings, and I fully support their business, and that's why I wanted to bring this out here. If you are in the market for a truly special out-the-front collector's knife that has no blade play and does represent a mechanical step forward in the game, definitely check out this Hawk Deadlock. If you are looking for an out-the-front knife that is very special that you want to carry every day, maybe look into one of these instead for actual carry and use in terms of just the everyday size profile. This is just so big. In any case, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that my opinion is relevant to you in some way, and I hope that you've learned something by checking out the Deadlock right here. So thank you to Nico for letting me borrow this. Go ahead and click like and subscribe if you enjoy my videos. Follow me on Instagram as Dr. Frunkey, and as always, take care.